Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, introducing you to my Halo 4 Legendary Difficulty video walkthrough. This is the second section to Infinity, and with the looks of this, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I moved upwards, but I haven't killed all the enemies in the area. So, I should probably get to that, and using cover and the light rifles and the decent guns of the game is a fantastic way to do so. But the sequence coming up is quite an intimidating one, because a lot of people have had trouble with it on normal, a lot of people have had trouble with it on heroic, you know, don't know why my pronunciation went to tits then, but it did, and everybody's fearing it on legendary. Well, I tried a couple of tricky things on legendary my first time through this area, and one of them nearly worked, and one of them was literally to the side of where Cortana is. There's like an alcove next to the door which you can jump up into, and if you crouch and you've got the light shield, you can pretty much sit there. But if you get unlucky like I did, I got shot by one of the knights, and it should have hit cover, but it was going through the cover and hitting me, and I couldn't quite understand why. And I survived there for a good couple minutes, but he eventually ended up killing me, but he never rushed me. And I think it would have worked if I'd have tweaked it a little bit. Like, keep on throwing out the hollow Halo man thing, but instead I just decided to move over to this corner where this turret is, because this is where I'm going to defend, guys. I'm going to defend from this turret, and then whenever I get overwhelmed, I'm going to run back towards that big tree root that you just saw where I was a moment ago. And if you do this area correctly, it's not bad at all, because you're never under any real threat of being rushed, so you can always regen your life. The only problem is ammunition and how many enemies they throw at you, because this is, for all intents and purposes, one of the most densely packed areas filled with enemies. This is one of the locations on the game where you will have to kill the most things in one area, because it really is. There's a lot of dudes here. And I'm trying to find some refills for my light rifle, and there we go, 108 bullets. Always averages out to 72 bullets, because it seems to be following the Covenant carbine logic, which I'm not a fan of, but one thing to note with that gun as well is it fires 3 bullets per shot, and when you fire from the hip it fires a triple burst. When you're scoping it fires a single shot, and I believe that the damage is the same, but I could be mistaken, because like, people in multiplayer will probably know a lot more about the damage than I do, because on multiplayer damage matters. Against legendary opponents they all take a pounding, so you don't notice the nuance. Oh, this is the technique I mentioned in the previous video that I thought I might have edited out. All I'm doing, guys, is literally swapping weapons to move these guns closer to this turret, because I know that that log behind the turret is where I'm going to be hiding when I get in trouble, and if I run out of ammo, all I have to do is run back towards here, and I can pick up a rail gun, which is a good weapon. And then you look over here, there's my my DMR, sorry, and I do the same. And you can take as long as you want to set up on this moment, so you can put every weapon in the area around this corner if you so choose to. You don't have to, but if you want a super safe, super easy mode getting past this section, then this is definitely the way to do it. Because I would go as far as to say that the method I'm going to use here, guys, is the safest, but it's not the quickest. Some people will probably do this much faster than I'm about to show you, but this definitely works, and that's all that matters, really, I believe. But do you see the central pillar there in front of me? That, like, groove that roots out from that structure? You can sit to the left of that. That's the thing that I was trying to cheese this area with. Kind of worked as well. But first thing I do is I drop the sentry, then I go onto this turret. I personally would not drag the turret away, because it gets unlimited ammo when it's on the ground, and I don't know if they've stuck to when you pick it up it's got a limited amount of ammo, but I would treat it as if it did. Mainly because when you pick this thing up you are very vulnerable to being damaged. You'll notice I'm taking too much damage here, so I drop off the turret, try to regen a little bit, and I believe a knight rushes me here. So I drop the sentry out, I get a little bit of shield back, but he stops my shield going down, and he's just there, just over in front of me. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting for a recharge, and it's just not working, so instead I back up over here. And when you're over here, you are completely 100% safe. Nothing will follow you to where I am, because the pathing will not let them do it. And then from this sequence, you can just take your time, you can move position, you can take them out at your leisure, and this is it, guys. This is the super hard part. There is not that hard, really. And this is the binary rifle, so first shot takes his shield, second shot kills him. And whenever you run out of ammo, just be very careful. And just be aware that this sequence lasts longer than you'd like. There is easily about 3 to 5 waves of enemies. And only ever approach Cortana when she says she's finished, because as soon as you pick her up, you can then leave. But be warned, the enemies will still come even when it's finished, and you can die once you've done everything, which is really frustrating. So hopefully you'll be able to avoid that. But it is currently the 8th of November, and we're about a week away from Black Ops 2, and a lot of people are asking me if I'm covering Black Ops 2, and I'm assuming that these people are new, or I'm assuming that these people couldn't think of a better thing to say, and they just wanted to, have a dialogue, because Call of Duty is kind of what I do, and I don't play it, as much as I used to, because there's a lot of games out right now, and I'm really into Dark Souls, but I've always been a Call of Duty player, and Call of Duty is my game. If I'd have had this capture device back when Call of Duty 4 was out, I would have made a guide for that in every single game following it. But unfortunately, I didn't, so all I have on my repertoire is Modern Warfare 3, but I covered that entire game on Veteran, and I'm more excited for Black Ops 2 than I was Modern Warfare 3, because in all honesty, I had no real expectations of the new Call of Duty. I just knew it would probably be a good game, and I would play it and enjoy it, and I did. And Black Ops 2 is, Treyarch moving from passing the torch to really redefining what a good Call of Duty is. And I do believe a lot of the people that, like myself, are not so much fatigued with Call of Duty, but disappointed with the fact that they rest on their laurels and they almost refuse to do any real massive changes to the formula. I think all those people are probably going to be impressed with the new game, because Treyarch definitely seems to be moving in a direction where I can honestly say Call of Duty is going to be creative again, because there just seems to be a lot of tweaks, a lot of different metagames, a lot of interesting nuances. And one of the things that you've got to really hate Activision for, or the Call of Duty series, is we're on like Call of Duty 9 now, and like 8 or 9 or something silly. That is a lot of games, that is a lot of sequels, that is a big franchise. And the defense that a lot of people have is, sequels generally reiterate on what was good, they introduce new elements, and they keep the core the same, but they just enhance it and enrich it, which is very true to a good sequel. There are some games that, are practically the exact same as before, just with a whole new wealth of content, and that is exactly what people want, because it's awesome. I mean, look at Diablo 3. The only thing that changed from Diablo 2 to 3 is they dumbed it down a lot and they made it a lot more accessible, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same game with less depth. And, it's a successful title. Call of Duty doesn't have that, because there's been so many, so at this point, people just look at it as if to say, it's too little too late. Just changing, levels, just changing guns, just reskinning things, just tweaking damage numbers is not enough at this point. Whereas to the hardcore fans, or the people that really enjoy the metagame, that is perfect for them. But to me as well, it's not enough just doing that. They need to take a gamble, they need to take a risk. And this is the first risk since Call of Duty 4. And I hope it pays off, because not only do you have it moving to a different time period, we're now in the not so distant future, but you have branching story missions where you take on alternate little quests within the campaign, which gives it that that little bit of diversity. You've got zombies evolving into something much more. You've got all the infrastructure for multiplayer being changed and redefined. This could really be a watershed moment for the series, but it all relies on Treyarch pulling it off, because if it isn't, it's going to be really, really disappointing. And I've got full faith in them personally, but I know a lot of people don't, and a lot of people are too tired of Call of Duty to care. But it's something I'll always care about, because just like Police Academy, that's a really bad example, because I hate Police Academy. Police Academy like 1 and 2 were great, and the ones that followed it were kind of good when you were a child, but then you look back and you think, what the fuck were they doing? But I still love it. Essentially, even if there's 8 of them, I'll still really enjoy the series. I'm definitely ready for something new. I'm definitely ready for that change, and I would love a Call of Duty 4 moment again, I really would. Because that literally changed what I thought gaming was to some extent. Because, God, it was so good. It was really good. And they need it, because it's about time. Because we know Modern Warfare 4 is coming afterwards, and if Modern Warfare 4 is like what Modern Warfare 3 was, you know, just slight iterations above extremely grey, it ain't going to cut it. Because Black Ops 2 is going to set the bar too high.
They're working with the Prometheans?
Oh, can we get him? No, we can't. So, the rough part about this sequence is if you came in with hardly any ammo because of the door that we just had to fight by, this can be quite tough. The cool thing is, the only real challenge in this room is going to be the knights that turn up, and there's a bunch of railguns sitting around for you to kill them with. So, my technique for this area is literally guerrilla tactics, thin the numbers, scourge as much ammunition as you can, and just get ready to, you know, to take on the big dudes, because the knights that are going to attack are the shotgun ones, and the shotgun ones, when they get close, are absolutely lethal. So you need to be super careful, but there is one of the sentinel watcher things. I'm not too sure what they're called. Once again, just forgive my ignorance. And one thing to note, over here, where I'm stood, there is a tunnel to my right. It's like a cave system, and a lot of the enemies will flank you through the cave system, so be careful of that. Oh, please excuse my shooting here with the railgun. Not only does the projectile have travel time on it, so it doesn't shoot where you aim at first, but you can't look down the sights with it, and I've already mentioned before that aiming from the hip is something that does not come natural to me, because it's counterintuitive to the way that I've gamed for a very long time, and I just don't feel comfortable. It's it's that simple. It's like when I first started playing Devil May Cry 4 and I swapped the right trigger for the pistol so I could charge the gun. When my finger was holding that trigger while I was playing, I felt off. I felt like I couldn't play right, and it's just all about getting used to the feel, as my dog keeps barking downstairs like a fucking mongoloid. And like Guitar Hero, if you've ever been playing Guitar Hero and you're doing something that's, you know, you don't normally do, you feel completely naked, you feel uncomfortable, you feel like you can't do what you used to do really well, all because you've changed the setup slightly. And that's how I feel hip firing, which sounds extremely profound for something very simple. But another thing to mention, seeing as I've gone off on a little Call of Duty tangent, and there are a lot of things I'd like to talk about, it's just, I don't want to miss the parts where I can actually give you some information that will help. The biggest struggle in making a Halo guide is a lot of it relies on your gun skill, and that is a good thing. Because if you're good at getting headshots, and you're good at, you know, managing your life, you're probably going to do much better than a guy who isn't. It just makes that much sense. So I'm going to talk about Assassin's Creed 3, because a lot of people have been asking me about it. So everybody knows what Call of Duty fatigue is, everybody knows what first-person shooter fatigue is, everybody knows that I'm afraid, oh, they should do now if they've watched these videos, that I'm afraid that 343 will play it safe again with the next Halo, and there'll be Halo fatigue surfacing. Well, this all originates from games like FIFA and games like Madden. Sports games that are annualized so that they get released every year, and the only thing that changes is the length of the players' beards. And I'm sorry, but all you're playing for then is the metagame, and if you enjoy that metagame, it's terrific, because every year you're getting tweaks, you're getting advances, you're getting additional technologies, and to someone who enjoys those franchises, that is amazing. To somebody who doesn't enjoy those franchises, that is the biggest milking project ever conceived. That is like some of the, you know, that is the Garden of Eden, only Eve had 6 titties. That is just baffling to me. It's just like Dynasty Warriors, it's just like a lot of these games. They're releasing the same game every year with a new rapper and a different fucking playboy on the front. That is literally all it is. And like I say, all you're playing for at that point is metagame. And that is what Assassin's Creed is to me now, guys, unfortunately. I loved Assassin's Creed 1. It had problems, it had gaping vaginal problems, but I got over it. I really did. There was problems with it, but I still enjoyed it because it was a really interesting concept, and it was, you know, a proof of function. It proved that it could do what it wanted to do, it just needed refining and tweaking because it didn't do it too well. I'm going to have to continue this in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching, and you take care now. We have the Chief on board and are outbound for Rally Point Alpha.